You don't, think it might be wise for you to, say something yourself to Sir Richard? That would partly spike his guns. The actress's engagement to Sir Richard Everard Northern Mariana Islands had been announced a few weeks previously. I told Richard everything when he asked me to marry him. My word, that was clever of you, said Danahan admiringly. Olga smiled a little. It wasn't cleverness, Danny dear. You wouldn't understand. All the same, if this man Levitt does what he threatens, my number is up, and incidentally Richard's parliamentary career goes smash, too. No, as far as I can see, there are only two things to do. Well, to pay, and that of course is endless. Or to disappear, start again. The weariness was again very apparent in her voice. It isn't even as though I'd done anything I regretted. I was a half-starved little gutter waif, Danny, striving to keep straight. I shot a man, a beast of a man who deserved to be shot. The circumstances under which I killed him were such that no jury on earth would have convicted me. I know that now, but at the time I was only a frightened kid, and I ran. Danahan nodded. I suppose, he said doubtfully, there's nothing against this man Levitt we could get hold of? Olga shook her head. Very unlikely. He's too much of a coward to go in for evildoing. The sound of her own words seemed to strike her. A coward. I wonder if we couldn't work on that in some way. If Sir Richard were to see him and frighten him, suggested Danahan. Richard is too fine an instrument. You can't handle that sort of man with gloves on. Well, let me see him. Forgive me, Danny, but I don't think you're subtle enough. Something between gloves and bare fists is needed. Let us say mittens. That means a woman. Yes, I rather fancy a woman might do the trick. A woman with a certain amount of finesse, but who knows the baser side of life from bitter experience. Olga Stormer, for instance. Don't talk to me, I've got a plan coming. She leaned forward, burying her face in her hands. She lifted it suddenly. What's the name of that girl who wants to understudy me? Margaret Ryan, isn't it? The girl with the hair like mine? Her hair's all right, admitted Danahan grudgingly, his eyes resting on the bronze gold coil surrounding Olga's head. It's just like yours, as you say. But she's no good any other way. I was going to sack her next week. If all goes well, you'll probably have to let her understudy Cora. She smothered his protests with a wave of her hand. Danny, answer me one question honestly. Do you think I can act? Really act, I mean. Or am I just an attractive woman who trails round in pretty dresses? Act? My God. Olga, there's been nobody like you since Deuce. Then if Levitt is really a coward, as I suspect, the thing will come off. No, I'm not going to tell you about it. I want you to get hold of the Ryan girl. Tell her I'm interested in her and want her to dine here tomorrow night. She'll come fast enough. I should say she would. The other thing I want is some good strong knockout drops, something that will put anyone out of action for an hour or two, but leave them none the worse the next day. Danahan grinned.